What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shuggy from Shook Earth Media, and today we're talking about what I think are the best changes from Walking Dead comic to TV show. We just did what I thought were the worst changes, and you can check that out in the iCard. I will link it up there, and you can see what I think are the worst changes, but not every change they made was bad, and that's why I actually really enjoy the show Adaptation. It's really fun to dissect what I think they did better, what I think they did worse. I think that's one of the best things about the show. I like that they're not afraid to change things up. I like that it's not just the exact same story over again. There's some new elements and new characters and differences that make it interesting as somebody who read all the comics to see. I don't generally think that adaptations should completely avoid changing things. I think that they should actually change some things. You don't change it for the sake of changing it, though, and you have to bring something new to the table. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. But yeah, we're just going to jump right off with the Shane storyline. In the comic, the Shane storyline was resolved in only 6 issues, and this was because Robert Kirkman really was writing each issue as if it was his last, because he had no idea, no way of knowing how long the show or the comic was going to run for. Most comics, for those who don't know, most comics don't run more than 12 issues. It's actually rare. So the fact he got to 193 is actually a huge achievement that should be commended. So it's really rare for things to go on that long. So he wrote the storyline as 6 issues, and it was kind of abrupt when rereading it again, when I'm reading these deluxe versions of the colorized versions of the comics, which you can see a video about up in the iCard. I'll throw it up there. But when you reread the Shane comic after seeing the TV show version, the TV version just does that storyline so much better, because they spend their time with it. You get to see Shane's transformation over time. You get to understand a little bit deeper the psychology of it. They tease it a lot more. They string it out across many episodes and really show the conflict in a much more illuminating way. And it's really a lot more satisfying when we finally have that confrontation that happens in issue 6. Here it happens at the end of season 2. And it's just one of the most memorable episodes in the series when Shane finally confronts Rick and Carl does what Carl does. So I really thought that they did a much better job in the show of doing the love triangle thing and showing Shane's transformation. And it's just one of the most interesting characters, and it was really compelling storyline. It was done better in the show. I don't even think there's any real argument. I don't think you could even say that it's done better in the comics. It's just better in the show, and that's just the truth of it. That's just facts as far as I'm concerned. There's no arguing with me. I'm right about everything, okay? Now, just to bring a new aspect of the zombies into the show. In season 4, we had a storyline where the zombies can carry an illness. They had like these bleeding eye zombies that carried a flu or a cold of some type that was a really strong sickness, and it was the driving force behind the storyline in the first half of season 4. And I think that was a brilliant storyline, and it did something new with the zombies, made them a threat in a different way. And it was just a really interesting storyline. I think that was a great change. It was something new, a fresh storyline, a fresh idea, and I was very impressed by it at the time. I was like, I wouldn't have thought to do this, and I think they did a great job with that. So I really like that. Going on to number 3, we got Morgan. Now, in the comics, Morgan is in the first issue, and then he does show up again when Rick and Carl, after the prison, they go back to their house, and Morgan is staying there. Now, there's a symbolic aspect of Morgan in the comics that they didn't really adapt in the show, and it is kind of a shame that it's not present, but really the point of Morgan in the comic was to show what would have happened to Rick if he had lost Carl. And you get to see Morgan living in the Grimes home, and his dead son, he keeps him alive as a zombie, locked up and stuff, and you get to see just that pain and suffering, and you get to see a little glimpse of what would have happened to Rick. I think that, having him in Rick's house, it's definitely supposed to symbolize what would have happened to Rick if he lost Carl, especially at that point in the series. So I really enjoyed that symbolism. But then Morgan is brought back into the cast, and he just kind of mills about. He doesn't really do a lot. So here is where the show is better. I mean, the Lenny James performance in that pilot episode, like, Morgan is just a character we really attached ourselves to, even more so than in the comic. I mean, in the comic, he's a cool character that we think of, but he's not the same as in the show, that pilot episode. He's one of the standouts. So absolutely incredible character. They teased us with him. Rick was like using a radio to try to communicate with Morgan at sunrise, and we're just like, when is he going to come back in the show? When is he going to come back in the show? And they really took their time to bring him back in the show, and I think it was a brilliant move. He eventually comes back in season 3, I believe. They are traveling back to their hometown to get more guns, and it's a whole episode that just shows Morgan's state of mind. He's lost his son at this point. He kind of loses it. It's called clear, because in his mind he just has to, everything that moves, every zombie has to be dead. And really seeing that transformation in him was really powerful. It's one of the best Walking Dead episodes, and I really loved that standalone. It's not an episode that was necessary for the season, the storyline overarching that season, but it was just a really powerful look into someone's troubled mind, and I think that's what this show really can do best. So that was really an incredible episode. And then they bring him back in season 5. We get little teases of him. Or is it it's season 6. We get little teases of him. I'm not sure, but we see that him following them and trying to link back up with Rick and them. And then we get an amazing Morgan episode in season 6, I believe, where we get to see his psychological journey again. We get to see him going from clear Morgan to a more peaceful guy through this character Eastman that he has a connection with. And to me, that's just such a powerful episode. It's one of my favorite Walking Dead episodes ever. And there's just the thematic core of it, that, Morgan was put in a cage, right? But the cage was never locked. And it's symbolizing how Morgan put himself in this state of mind, but it was never locked. He just kept himself in there just by the thought of it being locked. And just powerful symbolism of dealing with mental health issues. So that's just one of my favorite episodes. Now, he spun off into, we saw him again go from peaceful Morgan to struggling with the clear Morgan again. And I feel like that storyline was a little rushed. I wish he would have spent more time with Morgan in those seasons. But then we have him running away and then going into Fear, and I have mixed feelings about his tenure on Fear. But in general, I'm a big fan of the Morgan character, especially through like season 6 was just incredible. So that's Morgan, big fan. And in a similar vein, we have two characters, one character that is new and one character that is so different from her comic counterpart that she is essentially a new character, and that is, of course, Carol. Carol in the comics, I like the Carol character. I think the Carol character is important in the comics. I don't think she's a bad character. A lot of people seem to think that. I like the Carol character just fine. I mean, it's important to show the misery of the apocalypse atmosphere, and just like her losing hope after losing her relationship with Tyrese, after that relationship becomes strained and Tyrese cheats on her with Michonne. Just like seeing her downfall and like her not being able to see a future without that to look forward to. I think it's just so important to the franchise, and just that struggling with the change in scenario and how we each adapt to that. It is just so important to the themes of the comic. So I like the Carol character just fine. But in the TV show, it's unequivocally better. One of the greatest transformations on TV. We have her going from being the battered housewife to being somebody who's completely transformed, an insanely powerful fighter, somebody who makes hard decisions, who does crazy things. I mean, she takes matters into her own hands. She does a lot of questionable things, of course, and she's dark. She's conniving. She does things in the shadows, but ultimately she's a fighter. She's somebody that has a lot of strength, and I really like how she was transformed over time. So the Carol character is just one of the greatest transformations. Seeing her from the first season to now, it's a whole different person. So really great transformation there. I really like that. So of course, after Carol, one of the best additions to the Walking Dead TV show was the character of Daryl, who did not exist in the comics at all. And according to Robert Kirkman and others, he was pretty much created just as an excuse to cast Norman Reedus, who wasn't necessarily a great fit for Rick, who he auditioned for, and other characters, but they wanted to have him on the show. So they created this character of Daryl, and Daryl's a great transformation over time, and he's one of the fan favorite characters, one of the most influential for sure. And the dynamic between him and his brother Merle was very interesting to play with, and I think they did a really good job at creating a new character. And him being in each storyline was always just a wrench thrown in, so it always changed the dynamic of pretty much every scene that he was in that was adapted from the comics just by virtue of him being there. One of the best characters on Walking Dead series, so definitely one of the best changes. So now next we're going to skip ahead to the Whisperer storyline. There is a really neat little Easter egg that they added with the Beta character that wasn't present in the comics at all, and that is that they gave him a backstory where he was a famous country singer. And I think that this was absolutely brilliant. How they brought it out in the spin-off. They had a episode of Fear the Walking Dead where Daniel is trying to get various records for him to play on his record player, and he drops one that has the face of the man who played Beta, Ryan Hurst, and that subtle connection was genius. And they brought it out in Beta's final episodes where he has this death scene where he's surrounded by zombies, and it's kind of like implied that he's imagining himself in a concert setting. And when he's killed by Daryl at the end of season 10, or not the end of season 10, the end of the original season 10, Daryl stabs him in the eyes. And then he leans back into his crowd like he's crowd surfing, and he gets torn apart by these zombies, dude. Amazing ending. I really was impressed with that. I think that was such a brilliant, subtle detail to add to his character. So I really like that change. I think that was very smart. And yeah, it's a very memorable scene. Very, very memorable. So, and finally, we're just going to touch on the post-credit scene for World Beyond. And that is fast zombies and getting into the origin of the virus. Now, I am so glad that the comic did not do this. The comic is not about the zombies. It's about the characters and how they change over time. It's about leadership. It's about rebuilding civilization. It is about differing views on survival and all of these things. And the comic stayed pure to its intentions. It never deviated from that, and as a result, by issue 193, the storyline had run its course, and Robert Kirkman decided smartly to end it. And I think that was a great decision, and I ultimately really loved the ending. I think it was as perfect an ending for the series that you could have had, and it really caps it off as a story of hope and about the strength of the human spirit. And that's what I love about The Walking Dead so much. But as far as the TV show goes, we need something more. This show has gone on, it's 11 seasons of the main show, and 7 seasons so far of Fear the Walking Dead, and we've got season 8 incoming. We got 2 episodes of 2 seasons of World Beyond. We got an anthology spinoff. We got another Daryl and Carol spinoff coming. We got movies incoming. If this franchise is going to continue, we need new stuff. We need something big to happen that's different. We've had the characters transforming over time. We've had the rebuilding of civilization. We've had the discussions of leadership, differing views on survival and all of that. We've had all that in the show. It's kind of run its course at this point. Robert Kirkman at this point decided to end it because he didn't want to change what the comic was about, and I totally love and respect him for that. But at this point, if we're going to continue the series on television, if we're going to have all these spin-offs, we got to do something big. We got to do something new, and they finally did it at the end of World Beyond. We got that post-credit scene. We got fast zombies. We got the origin of the virus being explored, and I'm actually really excited about this. Taking the series in a science fiction direction, I think is smart. I wouldn't have been about it if it was in the comics, but the fact that it's that we're going this way for the television franchise, I'm all about it. I'm interested. I think that we need something big to shake things up because honestly, like Fear the Walking Dead is getting a little stale. The final season of Walking Dead, the main show, I haven't been big on. You can check out my reviews, but I haven't been that big on it. We need something big to shake things up, and I'm ready for it. So that's my best changes from the Walking Dead comic to the show. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you think I missed something, or if you disagree, if you don't like any of these changes, let me know what you think in the comments down below. We'd love to hear from you. And be sure to subscribe if you want to see more Walking Dead videos. In the meantime, before the show comes back, we'll be reviewing it when it comes out in February. But for now, we'll do news videos or maybe some more lists like this. But we're also just reviewing other stuff. We're doing a lot of video game, movie, TV show content in the meantime. So I hope I can keep you entertained. Hit that subscribe button if you'd like to see more. Hit like if you like this video. And definitely let me know what you think in the comments down below. So thanks for watching, everybody. Peace out. Have a good one.